don't like more taxes, but I'm willing to pay them because I think parks are super important.
I think that even though we pay a lot of taxes, it's a great investment to always put our public funds towards parks. We need those spaces for recreation and wildlife and just quality of life.
Well, that was the general consensus among Portlanders that we talked with today about a property tax increase proposal coming to the November ballot to pay for parks. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Oh my God, another tax increase in Portland. City councilors say it is the only way to keep the Parks Department from making major cuts. Parks are something Portlanders overwhelmingly said was the most important thing to them during budget talks earlier this year. Here's Council President Ilana Pertolgini.
We know that parks are part of what makes Portland different from other cities. We know that access to our pools and community centers is something that Portlanders have said in the past they're willing to make investments in.
Okay, the move to send an increased levy proposal to voters in November passed City Council yesterday in an 11-0 vote. Councilor Olivia Clark was not at the meeting. That same day, the Parks and Recreation Director resigned after 6 years running the Bureau. The reason for Adina Long's departure has not yet been made public, but everyone inside City Hall was pretty tight-lipped about it today. You could sense there was a vibe. No one wanted to talk with us about it, but back to that levy and what it's all about. Important to note, Portlanders are already paying a parks levy, but it expires next year. Parks and Rec is funded in part by the city's general fund, which is not doing well. And also, this levy, no federal or state money contributes to the city parks.
So we needed to either put that levy back on the ballot to ask Portlanders to continue to help us support our park system in this way, or face almost 50% cuts to the funding to keep our parks maintained.
In 2020, voters approved an 80-cent levy to pay for parks operations. It's a property tax on every $1,000 of assessed value. City Council is trying to increase that to $1.40, a 75% increase. For the median single-family residential property owner in Portland, assessed around $220,000, that would mean about $26 per month, an $11 increase per month, or about $130 more per year. Obviously, if your property is assessed at more than the median of $220,000, those numbers would be higher. The levy would last 5 years. Now, if you're a renter thinking, whatever, I don't pay property taxes, so of course I'll vote yes. Remember, your landlord does pay property taxes, so any increase to their bills could very likely trickle down to you. Now, the vast majority of the money raised by the levy would go toward park and recreation operations. The city estimates the new parks levy would raise about $84 million in the first fiscal year. There is a small percentage aimed towards capital maintenance projects, like repairing bathrooms and playgrounds, expected to raise another $2 million.
We know that we have buildings that are frankly falling apart in our parks. We have bathrooms that aren't operable because they need maintenance.
Well, we're already heavily taxed here in Multnomah County. I know that, but some things you've got to pay for to keep. I want to keep Portland going too. I want it to not die.
City Councilor Steve Novick represents District 3, much of Southeast Portland. He says the money from this increased levy would not go toward administrative costs.
The money from the parks levy will go to fundamental parks programs. Will go to keeping the outdoor parks clean and safe. Will go to keeping the pools and community centers open. It's not going to go to administrative overhead. I also think, at a time when people are worried about the future of Portland, and to some extent the present of Portland, to keep something that people love, to keep a part of Portland that has been great and is still great, is really important.
Portland Parks and Recreation declined to talk with us today on camera, citing legal reasons, saying that the language of the ballot measure is still being finalized. The Bureau will provide annual reports on how levy funds are being spent. Plus, a community oversight committee will review all levy spending and report that to City Council. Parks and Rec oversees more than 11,000 acres of parks, including 12 community and arts centers and 11 community pools. This new levy, if passed by voters in November, would pay for currently planned projects like a new indoor pool in North Portland, a skate park in Old Town, and improving 20 acres of natural area in deep Northeast. We're also told this will support options for low-income Portlanders to partake in park programs. But still, some people are not thrilled at the idea of paying more in taxes to live in Portland, and it begs the question, will all these increased fees push people out of Portland? We often hear the phrase, death by 1,000 cuts.
I think that people are more likely to leave when services deteriorate. Like when people talk about, they're moving because of the tax for preschool for all or the tax for homeless services, I think people are reacting to the fact that they're paying more and they don't see that they're getting anything back for it. Whereas people see what we're getting for the money we invest in parks, and I think it'd be much more likely that people would leave if the parks started deteriorating and they weren't clean and safe than if people are paying an extra $11 a month to keep them as good as they are.
Again, this is not final yet. All council did this week was approve the levy to appear on the November ballot. Voters in the city get the final say. If it passes, it will go into effect next year once the current levy expires. So talk to us. What do you think? Are you willing to pay, on average, another $130 per year to pay for the city's parks? Why or why not? Email us the story at kgw.com or call and leave us a voicemail, 503-226-5090.